earning is very important. It determines how you live, where you live, and when you live. How does it determine how you live? It determines your lifestyle. You earn well, you can live in abundance. You don't earn well, you live in scarcity. It determines your lifestyle. I was speaking with my daughter recently and I said something. I said, do you know that 80% of people will never own a car? Your earnings. Because that is based on your earnings. You don't get your earnings right, you don't earn well, then your lifestyle will be poor. Okay? Where you live, there is a neighborhood of the poor. There is a neighborhood of the rich. What determines this? Your earnings. If you're not earning so well, you move to the poor neighborhood. You're earning so well, you move to the rich neighborhood. Everyone has a choice, and we all can choose what we want, where we want, and how we want it. Finally, your earnings determine when you leave. Everyone has a destination. At the end, we are all going to go to that destination, death. But let's compare two people. Let's say there are two people. One person is earning well, the other is not earning well, and both of them have the similar conditions or the same conditions. And let's assume that they are at the same stage in that condition. What's going to happen? Who is going to survive the more? The guy that is earning more. So your earning matters. Never ever joke with your earnings. Alright, good evening everyone. If this is your first time, my name is Darius Okumbi. I am your number one financial clarity coach. Alright? And my job is to move people from financial chaos to financial clarity or financial stability. If that is you, then you're at the right place. Yeah, good evening, thank you. So today, we are going to be talking about how I made my first million. Okay? And remember, this is going to be shared into three parts. The first part is how I made my first million in income. The second part is how I made my first million in assets. And the third part is how I made my first million expense. Because we said something, I had said something. Yeah, earning matters. Thank you. Yeah, good evening. All right. So, we have said that when you want to set financial goals, you should do this. Set your income goal, your asset goal, and your expense goal. So that's why this is going to be split into three parts. And today, I'm going to be telling you how I had my first 1 million income. Yeah. Going back to earnings. Don't ever joke with your earnings. There are several things that determine what you earn. Several things. I'm going to mention a couple of them. Maybe if I can do 4. Yeah, so that I can speed up. Okay? The first thing that determines your earning is your education. Education. You know, education is very important. People say school na scam or education is a scam. I don't belong to that group. And the truth is, even without going to the 4 walls of the school, education is very important. Education sets apart those that earn well and those that do not. Yeah, because you can have education without going to school. But I will concentrate more on the school education now because it also has a part to play. Yeah, education. Education. So, the school education has a part to play. When you go to the job market, which was how I started this journey, when you go to the job market, the school education sets you apart, except for some recent developments, but I still think till date it gives you a leverage, it gives you an opportunity, right? Because many people will, yeah, because many people will downgrade you based on your education. That is if you don't have the second one, which is experience, right? So experience can make up for your lack of education when it comes to your job, right? Your experience matters. So the first one is education. The second thing that determines your earning is experience. If you've had better experience than someone else on this job, I mean, you get a better income, right? Even in the marketplace out there, experience is even more rated than education. Yeah, experience is more rated. That's why you begin to hear people say things like, oh, okay, how did they expect me just leaving the school? How did they expect me to have 3 years experience, 5 years experience? Guys, nobody really cares. That's the hard truth. Because the businessman is interested in profit. And if he has someone that can bring the profit as fast as possible, he would rather hire the person. Education, experience. The third factor that determines your income is the industry you play in. There are different industries and they all play differently. So, if you're in the banking, you're in the tech, you're you're in the oil and gas, you're in, I mean, hospitality, you're in, say, real estate, they all pay differently. One of the institutions that I mentioned, I mean, one of the industries I mentioned doesn't pay so well. They only pay you well based on commission. I will not mention that industry. But if you want a higher income, you should look for that industry, right? That pays more. Except you have acquired certain skills, right? Certain skills that will make you well paid irrespective of the industry. Alright, so I've talked about education, experience, and I've talked about the industry. Right? I'm saying these things so that by the time I'm sharing my story, you will be able to add 1 and 2 together and confirm some things, which were factors that played out in my earning. The fourth one I will mention, I have about 6, but let me start about 4. The fourth factor that is responsible for your earning is your location. Your location. Someone in the US will earn better than someone in Nigeria. In most cases. I can say 90% or 95% of cases. Someone in Lagos has a probability of making more money or earning more than someone elsewhere. Especially in Nigeria. So, I said that to say this, that if you want to increase your earnings, these are 4 things that will determine. So if you know that where you are, the state you are, you will not earn more. It's just like a teacher at Ishayin. I mean, I didn't mean to insult people that come from Ishayin, but from Ishayin, or living in Ishayin, will earn less than a teacher in Ibadan or a teacher in Lagos. And location matters. Alright? And this is it. The less you earn, the less you can invest. Like we say here, we say that there is a seed in every income you make, and if you fail to plant that seed, you will cry when you should be reaping the harvest. But if you have a low income, what will happen? You will only have little seeds to sow, and then you will reap from the little seed. But if you have a high income, you will have more seeds to sow, and then you will reap a bigger harvest. So that is why your income matters. Your income matters. So look at yourself. How much are you earning? It matters. All right, so let's do the maths. Let's do the maths. So I'm going to create an assumption. I'm going to create an assumption that how much you earn now is the amount you will earn till you retire. So let's assume that you just started work and then you earn 100,000 naira. And then let's assume that that 100,000 you earn monthly is the amount you will earn till you die. Assumption. So if that's the assumption, that means for 30 years, I'm sorry, till you retire, not till you die. For 30 years, you will earn 36 million naira if what you earn is 100,000. And truth be told, I've heard of someone who earned like 80,000 thereabouts and earned it for like 10 years. You heard me right. Yeah, it happens in this country. So, you 100,000 naira for 30 years, that means you will earn 36 million naira all through your work life. That is why don't embrace low income. What about if you earn 500,000 naira from start to the end of 30 years? How much would you have earned for that period? You would have earned 180 million naira. And to a large extent, the income you start with becomes the basics for your next income. That means you earn on the back of your current income. So that is why your current income matters. And especially if you're just transiting from NYSC, from service into the work life, you should be careful about what you earn. So, let me share my story. After my NYSC, I needed to get a job. And at that period, a lot of people, a lot of hopes, high hopes, just like every time people finish their youth corps. High hopes, I'm going to get a good job. I'm going to get a great job. You know, one thing one of my friend told me, I mean, in one of those days, he said, some people do not know that the highest income they earn will be the income they earn during NYSC. Fact. That was even when I think NYSC was paying 11,000 naira. Then 11,000 naira. But is that true or was that true? Yeah, some of our friends still had all those struggles. Maybe life would have been better now. But when I finished, I was just like, okay, so what next? But before I even finished university, I had determined one thing: the industry I was going to play in. I determined the industry I was going to play in. There are businesses, there are industries that can give you the kind of income you want. And guess what? That industry was not, okay, was not even civil service. So, I mean, you need to determine. So that was one thing I did. I said, okay, I'm changing my career. Okay, I'm moving from sciences to XXX to finance. So I said, okay, so I want to gather experience in finance. Therefore, I said, okay, I was going to focus on finance, do certain things that will also help me to make those changes. So that was sorted. Because of two things, because I was changing my career path. And secondly, I wanted to earn more. Right? I didn't want to earn small. So once I finished that, now finished university, my search was now limited to audit firms and banks. Those were the two searches. So I think about 1 month later, thereabouts, one of my aunts, I went to visit one of my aunts, and then she said something. She said, okay, there is this program that I think you should join after going to the university. And it was a program that was focused on employability skill development. And it was fantastic. So, she put me in somehow. In the end, I went through this 1 week program and I was not the same. I learned how to attend interviews, I learned how to do certain things, how to work on the job. And this is one thing that most people do not get, one luxury people do not get. They do not learn how to work on the job, neither do they learn about interviews. And that's why education is important. So after all that, I now got an offer from a bank. I will not mention the name of the bank because that was the scariest offer I've ever had. So when I got to the training for 3 days, the training was 3 days. So we're trained consistently, and we kept asking, how much is the salary for this role? And nobody was talking. I had concerns, okay? Nobody's telling us what the salary looks like, and everybody seemed to be clueless, and everybody is tight-lipped. Then there were lots of people attending this, well, I'll call it event because it looked like an event. Lots of people, like, okay, so I mean, I'm not getting the vibe. So after 3 days, it was a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah, the less you earn, the less you have to invest. Yeah, beautiful. After those 3 days, we were now supposed to come on Monday for our offer letter. So everybody was supposed to go to the door, I think we did a last minute interview, and the interview just looked like, okay, it was a 4-to-4, meaning 4 panel and then 4 candidates at the same time. So I had issues because I had attended a couple of interviews. So at the end of this interview, we were now told that there is, okay, we should wait behind and then we'll get our offer letter. Alright. So we're called in one by one, and then we're told, okay, what's your name? We got our name, our address, and all that, and then they began typing they wanted to prepare the offer letter. So what I did was, at that point I asked, sir, please, what is the salary for this, or remuneration for this role? And guess what they said? 25,000 naira. Jesus, I'm like, word, 25,000 naira? I didn't say anything. I just walked out of that place, of the interviewer's room, and I called the person that referred me. I said, please, I'm not picking this job. I said, what happened? No, it just doesn't sit well with me. Because I was wondering, I stayed in Bagada. The job is in Apapa. How would I be transporting that much and on 25,000 naira? Hell no. It was a bank job. And guess what? People on that level, right, still got still received 25,000 naira as at 2021. And people picked that job. Now I was just like, no. But that was also on the back of something that had happened to me before then. I spent time praying, and then while praying, I had this nudge to write down how much I want my first salary to be. And guess what? I wrote that amount down and it stuck. And after that, I mean, I thought about that again. I said, God, how am I getting something like 10% of what I wrote? And that was just it. That day I got home and cried. I said, why is job so difficult? How can somebody look at the whole me and say 25,000 naira for what? It was funny. But you know what happened? That same week, so I rejected it because I didn't even bother to take the offer or whatever. But that same week, I sat down, and one of those days, and the Friday of that same week, I got a call from 2 other banks, and the 2 banks were not doing so bad. One was paying ×4 of that, and the other was paying close to ×10 of that. And I was like, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking for. So it was a journey for me, and I stayed like 4 months at home after youth service. I mean, not everybody has that luxury to stay for that short period. So, what was yours like? That was what mine was like. So, I now got this so that within 4 or 5 months, I have bagged my first ₦1 million income on a salary. That means If you check my account statement within that 5 months, I have had relationship with my first 1 million. And because that was the offer, that was what I wanted as at then. I could imagine if I am just graduating now and seeing the rates of spikes of price, if I would call that same figure or want that same figure as my income. So I learned several lessons, and I'm going to pick out 5 lessons that you can learn from this story. The first one is this: before you get a job, or at the beginning of every year, what you need to decide is your income. You need to decide your monthly income. How much am I going to earn every month in this year? I have found that most times, even when I left banking and began private practice, most times, as I begin to set goals, I begin to rise to that occasion. Well, some will say that not everybody has the luxury of setting goals and getting there. But this has been my method, and I'm still going to talk about that when I talk about how I got my first 1 million in business. So, not everybody has the luxury of that. The truth is, there are things that I do that make those goals possible. I'm going to share a couple with you today. So, after setting the goal, what's the next thing that I do? I ensure that my subconscious mind, so the second lesson here is that your subconscious mind must recognize your goal. Your subconscious mind must recognize your goal. So we have 2 different types of mind. We have the conscious mind and we have the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is that mind of yours that is interacting, listening actively, that is working, that thinks, that decides, that says, oh, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm going to do, the one that talkative mind of yours. That is your conscious mind. But you have a passive mind of yours, which is the subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is the one that attracts the results towards you. If your conscious mind gets it right and your subconscious mind does not get it right, it will not work. I say that again. If your conscious mind gets it right and your subconscious mind does not get it right, it will not work. You will not achieve that goal. Your subconscious mind is the listening mind. It's just like the program that runs on your computer or on your phone. You don't know much about those programs. You don't know what is running on the back end, but it is what is running on the back end that is making that laptop, that phone to respond. You send in a command, several things go in there. That is your subconscious mind. But this is what you do with the subconscious mind. You program it for what you want. You program it. If you do not program your subconscious mind, you will not get the result you are looking for. If you do not program your subconscious mind, you will not get what you're looking for. Alright, so how do you program it? Okay? So let's say I say that, I want to make an income of 500,000 naira every month in the year 2025. For instance, if that's my goal. So this is what I do. I say it, I write it, I think it, I wake up, I think it often and say next year, 2025, I'm going to begin to earn a minimum of 500,000 naira every month. I begin to say that to myself. So it's just like you're recording. You must record those details into your mind. When I decided how much I was going to earn, I said, I wrote it down. And I go back, I look at it. Say, this is the amount I'm going to earn every month. And guess what? The job I got paid that exact amount. Because I programmed it. Apart from programming, there is still work to be done. Unfortunately. there is still work to be done. Even though the subconscious mind have the power to attract that result, there is something else you need to do. Go for the goal and take nothing less. Go for the goal and take nothing less. And this is for salary earners. Okay? You set a goal of, let's say, 500,000 naira. And then you got a job of 50,000 naira. The truth is, if I had picked that job that was going to pay me like 25,000 naira, I would not be able to attend the interview because I was supposed to resume the next day. And I don't like being seen as unstable. I don't like committing to something and then you can doubt my commitment. I'm that kind of person. So, I would not have gotten this other job that I wanted if I chose that. So I decided not to go for anything less. I know it's a hard beat, but except you know how these things work, you will not value these things. Like, I wasn't going to accept anything less. So the first thing I said is set your goal. The second thing I said is ensure that your subconscious mind recognizes your goal. And the third one is don't accept anything less. Anything less could be in form of doubt. Oh, I doubt. I may not be able to get this. I doubt. When that doubt surfaces into your mind, what should you do? You should say something about it. You should say, okay, let's say you have this thought and say, see, your friend just got a job and it's 20,000 naira. Are you sure that's not what you confess it and say it? Say it often. Say it often and don't accept anything less. This will help your mind so that nothing else gets into it. You know, one thing the Bible says is this, it says, flee every appearance of evil. Until you begin to see those doubts and those thoughts as evil that you should flee from and make a confession against, you will not attract the results you are looking for. Alright? So, number 4, seek knowledge before any endeavor. Knowledge gives clarity. So let's say you say that you want to earn 500,000 naira this year. Are you learning, while you're programming it into your mind, are you learning something that can make that dream a reality? Do you have the skill that can make that a reality? I've met several people who seemingly do not have any skill. Well, that's because they did not develop certain skills. Alright? So that's because they didn't develop certain skills. So you need to concentrate on knowledge. Develop a certain skill that can give you this result you're looking for. Without skill, you will not be able to get a better income. You know, the first thing I mentioned was education. So, you want to earn 500,000 naira this year. What are you learning? And you want to earn 500,000 naira monthly this year. What are you learning? What skill are you pursuing to be able to make that a reality? Whatever skill you are learning, does that skill have the capacity to give you how much you are asking for? You cannot be looking for a 500,000 naira job and then what you are learning is how to mop. That skill. So far you are the one mopping. Hey, it's going to be a tall order. So you must also make sure that you are not playing a dangerous game even while learning the skill. So the problem is this. The question is this knowledge you're pursuing, will this knowledge you're pursuing, is it possible for this knowledge you're pursuing to give you this amount you are looking for? Is it possible that this knowledge you're practicing, this knowledge you're pursuing, the skill you're practicing, can it give you that kind of return? Can it give you that kind of return? So you cannot be learning a low-level skill and be thinking and with the thought of getting a high income. You can't be a janitor, you cannot be sweeping, you cannot be mopping and think that that is what's going to change your life forever. That's a low level skill or zero skill. Zero skill knowledge. So can this knowledge produce this result for you? I told you, after university, I went to learn about how to work on a job. Will this knowledge, so that by the time I am employed, and there's a lot of stories around that, because in the end, I don't want to share the story, but in the end, it's paid off. So seek the right knowledge. So the first one is set your goal. The second one is ensure that your subconscious can recognize that goal. That's program your subconscious. The third one is don't take anything less. And the fourth one is seek the right knowledge. And the fifth one, go for the goal. Whether your mind has the capacity to attract it or not, you need to go for the goal. You already have chosen your industry by now. Go for the goal. You have chosen your target customers by now. Go for the goal. You sought the right knowledge. You set your goal. Your subconscious is being programmed to recognize it. Go for the goal. And don't take anything less. Don't take anything less. Because taking anything less is telling your subconscious mind that you are not ready for that action you programmed into it. And what happens? You reverse everything that your subconscious mind understands, while it has the capacity to attract. But you have stopped it from the process of delivery. So, what's your income goal for this year? You can actually meet and surpass that goal. Has it been programmed into your mind? Do you choose to go for something less? Besides, this goal we're talking about is written down. The Bible says, write the vision. If you're not seeing it, if your subconscious mind is being discouraged, spend time to write the vision. Consistently write it down. When you are working, write it. Let all your books be filled with that goal. Let your subconscious begin to see it more often. Even though doubts come to your door, let your subconscious see it more often. The more your subconscious sees it, the more it is programmed into it, the higher the probability that you will experience it. Yeah. So, lastly, I'm going to talk about my regrets. What is my regret in all this? What is it that I wish I had done better? And that's what I'll be sharing. It's going to come up in all of this series. So my regret is this: I would have asked for more. Instead, I was just thinking about 250,000 naira. I would have asked for more, because now I understand. Having used this technique over and over and over again, and I've seen this technique work over and over and over again. This technique works. All right. So, in the next class, I'm going to be telling you how on that same job, within 14 months, with a 250,000 naira salary, with all the things that I needed, all the commitments I had at that time, how I made my first 1 million naira asset. And it's not totally about this job. I found other means by which I could raise this money. And it happened. And it worked. Now I'm saying this to let you know that whatever income you have, you can get it. Using this method for me has worked 1, 2, 3, several times. And I'm glad it did. I'm glad I have used this method over the years, and I am still using it. So, as we come to a close today, my question is this: what are you doing about your income goal this year? Have you written it down? Is your mind doubting it? Even when your mind is doubting it, what are you doing to reprogram it into your mind? Because your programming is more important than your current reality. Your programming is more important than your current reality. So, I believe that there is nothing, based on what the Bible says, that there is nothing you put your mind to that you cannot achieve. Yes, to achievement in the year 2025. So, thank you for being part of this. I hope that this works for you. If you're in our community and you are still having issues with these things, I might have one or two things that I still want to share with you. So feel free to ask. And if you have questions, feel free to drop it in the comment section. My name remains Darius Okumi, your #1 financial clarity coach. See you next week.